back, one and all. This is stage 2 of our main event, day 1, in fact, and we are down to one last match. It's going to be an elimination match fought out between FMCL and who is Goldfish. So let's chat about this last matchup. What's that grin about, Jake?
Just thinking about For My Cherished Lover, my favorite team here.
FMCL. Let's talk about them. Let's bring up the
name,
roster once more. They've already had a game, of course, or rather 2 today. They are still alive and kicking. A very interesting roster, of course. A lot of name value on your screen here.
Yeah. Got to talk about Seeker. I mean, in that last match against MAD, Seeker was carrying tons and tons of picks from the hit scan. The rest of the team, I don't think, was able to shine as brightly. The matchup looked pretty rough. So I think we need to see a little bit more out of the rest of them, especially eyes on the core. Like, I want to see this team play a little bit more aggressively, perhaps. Like, can they get in there a little bit quicker with this Lucio BAP? Lots of heals to be used. Maybe you can deploy those with a strong push.
Is Renko still smiling? Anyway.
I hope so. Renko better never stop.
Yeah, I wish we could get Renko cam.
Renko cam.
Just
only Renko cam. Now on the other side, who's Goldfish?
Yeah.
What do we know about them?
Well, I was going to talk about Dust Winston, but it seemed like Goldfish selected Winston, which I don't know.
Those are some of the most troll player hero selections I've seen. They have 3 tanks.
Yeah.
They'd be vibing. I think that's just like whoever you like best. That doesn't have to be rooted in any.
But I like SSG. They've got a legit comp up there. You know, it's like Cass, May, Ryan, BAP, Lucio. It's like, let's go. These things, they fit together.
Except Christopher picked Wrecking Ball. I've only seen Christopher's Reinhardt.
He's not gonna. He can get silly.
Hey, yo, me and Christopher, we went head to head back in the day. Yeah.
Those days are long gone. Like that's been a hot minute. Now it's time for the new guns, the new kids. Who is Goldfish? Lots of new faces, lots of questions being raised, of course. Who is Goldfish?
Very existential.
Who is Goldfish? What's your best guess?
Jonak.
Oh, okay, reaching high. I like it.
Yeah. What is Goldfish? I mean, like, is this just a person named Goldfish, or is there more? Exactly. Well, exactly. Is this just a concept, or is this a proper noun?
Where are you going?
I mean, is this a proper noun or a common noun?
I think it's a good question I think the best question to ask here is, how is Goldfish? Because.
Which one?
Well, that one. Because we may or may not find out. There it is. This is Goldfish. That is Goldfish.
With the Arnold poster? I love it.
Winning
That's amazing.
Already. Okay, so you are Goldfish. Your identity, for whatever reason, has been kept a secret. Is there any rhyme or reason to this, or why are you keeping everyone in suspense? Sleepless nights on my side, all group stage long.
Well, the reason that I kind of kept it, like a secret for a bit is that I played competitively previously, and I kind of was like trying to like move away from playing, and I was just asked to play with my friends, and I figured that I would just play under a different alias than what I went under before.
Oh. So is it your team? Like, are you team captain Goldfish on who is Goldfish? Like, what's going on here?
It's a power play.
No, I'm not really a team captain, I don't think. I would say that it's more of it was a team that was put together at the last second by Debit. He's a manager for a few teams in the scene at the last minute, because a couple of the players on this team wanted to play in OWCS and didn't have a team at the end of it, or like towards roster lock. So we decided to throw a team together. So it's just kind of it's just kind of a friend team. I wouldn't say it's anyone's team specifically.
All right, and how is the team feeling about making it to the main event? I think a lot of people may have been surprised to see you guys up there as well.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising to make top 8. We didn't really have a ton of expectations going into OWCS, I don't think. But we tried really hard, and we had a good time, and it feels great to have made top 8. So really exciting.
Well, you had a good time, and it definitely translated into the matches we got to see so far from you. So I let your head get back into the game. You have one more coming up to stay alive. Best of luck to you and your team, and thank you so much for taking the time.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
So now we know the secret has been revealed. This is Goldfish.
Here we go.
I can sleep again.
It's great to see the team make it this far. I just learned from production, they're the only 16th seed qualifier to make it to a main event, which may be not surprising. They're the only 16th seed to win a map in the group stage.
A map?
Yeah, the other 16 seeds not looking so good. Not looking so good.
Wow.
This makes me feel better about being 17th seed.
Does it though?
Yeah, a little bit, a little
Okay,
bit.
I love that for you.
You know?
I'm not going to take that away from you. Well, now they have to go up against FMCL, which of course have to be considered the favorite heading into this match. But we had biggest surprises in Overwatch history.
Have we?
Well, I
This
think
would be
so.
pretty
I
big.
think we've seen some pretty big surprises.
We literally saw Citrus Nation beat up Timeless 3-0.
That is true. That was a pretty big surprise. The 3-0.
Not even that long
All right,
ago.
you're right. This is fair.
Yeah.
What do they need to do? Key to victory going up against FMCL.
Just
be good.
Just kill them. Just shoot them.
Just, hit those Lucials at the right time and you'll be good to go.
Oh,
And this is...
that's the hourly right there. That's
is
the
the
hourly.
In 5 seconds, I'm going to explain to you how to play the whole meta, all right?
Oh, boy.
Just get ready.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
But that's going to be locked behind a paywall.
Analysts.
We're not going to give out any freebies for now. Of course, chat very much clearly in favor of FMCL. Hate that, but
For my cherished lover.
For the cherished
Call them by their full name.
They
For
now
my
have
cherished lover.
to fight for survival against who is Goldfish. Let's see who is going to come out on top of this one. So once more, we're going to send it over to the
Winston.
gentlemen, Mr. X and Mitch.
Asked who was Goldfish though, because he said that he played under a different name.
Yeah, he used to be
time.
somebody else.
I didn't want to put him on the spot like that. I just felt it was been rude.
Home Slash got on camera though.
I thought
you know what I'm
everyone knew,
saying?
and
That's
I
true.
was too scared to ask.
I don't know.
I didn't want to seem knowledgeable
You
by
all
not
just
knowing.
nodded like, oh yeah, true, yeah.
Who was Goldfish? I mean, that's the.
So
again,
the secret stuff.
yeah, I'm kind of
Someone
wondering.
in chat will know.
So we
Someone
haven't
in chat
solved
will know.
anything actually.
No,
Nothing actually got
Oh,
solved.
we got a face now, so detectives are on it.
God, no, don't.
Oh
dox
yeah.
the guy. I mean,
We raised the issue. We raised the issue
let my
up the
boy, let my
pole.
boy frag here. I mean, I guess that's less important. The past, not nearly as important as the present, Matt. You know what I mean? It's a gift. That's why it's called
Yeah.
the present, big son. Don't you reckon?
I'm trying to log into Jake's Patreon so I can figure out what he actually thinks about the series.
It's a great advertisement for his supplementary content, isn't it? It's like, I'll give you a little teaser. We love Jack. He's given us plenty to ruminate on so far in this series. No different here. Look, who's Goldfish are a team that sort of say, hey, we kind of didn't even expect to be here. So from this point onwards, it's a bonus. FMCL, however, are the kind of team that have been in the mix already in stage 1. Definitely expect to advance here. Now, there's always some upset potential, but I think, to be clear, there probably is a little bit of a mismatch on paper here, especially with some of the names on this FMCL roster. They're powerhouses, Matt. I think that's a safe way of putting it.
Yeah, it would be a huge upset. I think that is a very fair statement, but I also think for who is Goldfish, you kind of heard a little bit of the backstory of the team. It's awesome that they made it this far, right?
This is the
16th
point.
seed, they kind of come in.
This is the point of opening up the circuit, right? That you have opportunities like this to make top 8.
That's where you look at teams like, Timeless and, EXO and whatnot, right? Just because you placed good for 3 weeks doesn't mean you're automatically guaranteed the next time, right? Let's run it back and see who the best teams are. So who is Goldfish come out with the Orisa-based composition? They'll have a Kariko in the mix as FMCL will play a Genji here with a Baptiste, so a little bit of a different look.
Good kill there from Reverse, getting Maimon off of Azruf, which made a bit of a problem for the Sojourn. Also, that immortality field for Renko cleared up, and no immediate pressure being put on FMCL here, as they definitely have a stronger position. Who is Goldfish kind of forced off the point entirely. Should be an early cap for our side on blue.
Yeah, early point control. I also think that once you get the Genji in this close quarters, so the damage that Seeker's putting down, it looks like Maimon can go to town. Looks like you're gonna lose Dust here as well. That's a deflect with a dash as some more kills come down. So FMCL, even when they try and wrap to the point for who is Goldfish, they meet them right there at the spot and they take advantage with their comp.
We're making use of the Baptiste comp, instead of a Kiriko, which is definitely a point of difference here. And you'd think even harder to keep a Genji topped up without that Kiriko, right? I mean, Maimon has to play off health packs and some of the ambient healing provided by Lep. Still, they were able to find a decent amount of value in that previous fight. Goldfish had a good off angle just to pump heals into Dust, and it wasn't enough. We'll have the recontest here as FMCL drop off the high ground now to take the fight. And Matrix, Seeker forced away from it, but not entirely. He'll still try and play around it, but Dust has to force their way through it, which puts him in a vulnerable spot. Immortality Field, not going to be enough to save Seeker there as Azra finishes the job, and a sound barrier here for who is Goldfish. Maimone's Dragon Blade considerably blunted by this sound barrier, but still able to find two. That's a big play. That fight was headed south awful quick there for FMCL. He salvaged it.
Yeah, and Ariel has the Terror Surge, but it may not even be needed, right? As Renko's going to help finish off Goldfish there, has the Immortality Field keeping himself alive. So that is a chaotic fight, but it's FMCL that comes out on top yet again. Is going to see a Tracer swap here to get back towards the point.
That's the round, though, right there. And who is Goldfish? They spent both their support ultimates in that fight. So they are extremely unfavored here. Maimone switching obviously to the Tracer, like you mentioned. They're in trouble. So the high ground they want to push here. Mad Terror Surge is going to be pretty darn perfect, and Seeker gets caught in the poke damage. Hang on. There might be something here.
That is quite odd, as usually don't see the Lucio getting the pick at range, as Azra gets a kill there. Nice railgun shot. Everybody else will fall for FMCL. So who is Goldfish will get the flip, give themselves a chance here in round number 1.
I mean, credit here to who is Goldfish. I kind of call that over just based on the stronger positioning of FMCL and the ultimate sort of parity between the two. But they were able to find some picks without ultimates. That's really promising for this team. Standing on even footing with FMCL in a fight like that is crucial. Now, they have that high ground control. Can play around Dust, of course. And they've almost built another Kitsune rush here.
Yeah, as Renko and Kodo wants to push this out and then maybe get an Amatrix up on the high ground. So look how aggressive Dust is going in there. He's got an Immortality Field, but goes so deep.
Healed up, though. Somehow they keep him alive. Kitsune Rush, healing. That's big. Renko, though, has an Ant Matrix now, and if who is Goldfish can be kept out in the open, it could be devastating. Renko, though, just after getting the Ant Matrix down, is blown up. Goldfish found a kunai, but the spear from Dust was surely a big part of that. And FMCL can't make any use of that Ant Matrix at all. It's in a weird spot to start with. And then they lost Renko, has to switch to the Kiriko now. The gloves are off.
Yeah, so who is Goldfish putting up a much better fight now, right? Looking really strong, pushing up, right? Renko drops that Ant Matrix, and then it just gets taken out instantly. Now forces the Kiriko swap, as this will be Maimone just trying to get a touch here, trying to drag these players down from the high ground.
Fizz here.
This pulse bomb could be sick.
Yeah, lining up. Ariel there. Trying to make sure we can get rid of the Orisa at the start of the fight. It doesn't quite pay out, though. Pulse bomb here for Maimone available. Good sound barrier. Biz doesn't benefit from it at all, but they're going to stay out of the fray for the time being. FMCL have one of their own. Still no eliminations until finally Dusty's brought down. That took a lot of work, though, to get rid of the Orisa. And after that, who is Goldfish will actually capitulate and crumble.
Pretty close round, though, right? Just to remind everybody, like, this is a 16 seed. And who is Goldfish? Obviously making it all the way here to the main event. It's like a huge accomplishment, right? Going up against FMCL, who's players who we've seen on, top level pro teams and contenders teams, in the past, right? The very recent past,
I mean,
right? So
literally 3 Overwatch League players on this squad, and like representatives of, World Cup teams.
Right. So keeping it close there, round number 1, pretty good sign for who is Goldfish for potentially the remainder of the series. We'll see how things pan out, as Seeker looks like to be hovering over the Ashe here. So Ashe Sigma could play from like that, longer kind of like, almost bridge-like side.
Here we go. Out of the gates. Ariel with the Sigma. Yeah, that makes sense to see the Ashe paired with this now. Who is Goldfish, though? If they sort of read this composition, they know they want to close the gap early and often. At least get into
They need to play fast.
Yeah, at least get into the right side position.
Why
are they
going to swap?
They might be. Yes, the Ramatra composition to counter the Sigma. I mean, that's a great pick. That is going to answer this quite adequately. More than, in fact. Especially once they close the gap enough for Dust to walk up on Ariel, excuse me.
Dynamite nails onto the Ramatra here. So not going to be able to kind of close that gap just yet. Nah, nobody is actually taking the point. Okay, now as I say that, that'll be Renko and Co.
You can't play Sigma against this. You cannot do that. They just push. I mean, the first kill, I think, was Renko, for God's sake. Dust able to push up very, very close. Clean up, though, decent. I say you can't play this because FMC would much rather be a more even footing. And yeah, switch to the Orisa here. This is going to be able to punish any sort of encroachment by the Ramatra. And oh my god, they are counterpicking the Orisa setup with a poke comp of their own. I don't know. I'm not sure about this one. Because they don't switch DP. Well, they still have the Sojourn to play with, so this is fine, but I want to see what Aerial does about this. What?
That's a disruptor shot kill that we get there on the Seeker. So do you think we see maybe Seeker switch to like a... Does he play a Cassidy or Sojourn? It looks like still continue to play this Ashe. Sojourn just not going to be as one together, right?
Yeah, I mean, you farm the Sigma Shield for that charge with your Sojourn, right? If you play around the kinetic grasp, like your disruptor shots are still very impactful. You can force them back a little bit. But you like, ostensibly, you want to close the gap here with this Orisa setup. So, see how long Seeker wants to stay on this. But there it is, straight away. Gap closed there. Dust under pressure. Force off that sort of neutral position. We have an overclock here from Azruf, playing an off angle now. All of FMCL have to hide behind this, but Biz gets him in the pulse, at least gets rid of the immortality field from Renko. And Aerial goes down. The poke damage is working out. Who is Goldfish? Angling for the counter comps, Matt, are finding great success.
Yeah, I mean, they are taking it to FMCL at the moment, right? Holding on to both support ultimates here. For that is they're still staying on the Ashe, so you'll have a Bob here, but you know, how beneficial is the Bob going to be, right?
Well, I mean, generally against Sigma, pretty good, but yeah,
off angle on the point.
Yeah, it's fine. You can test with that, of course. Sigma can't really contest himself. Like, someone else has to go over there, but they can't be protected, shielded by him. Bob eventually drops. Ant Matrix helping with that.
Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah.
Oh, no, that's a no-no. That is big no. Nope, didn't see it. If I don't see it, it didn't happen. It can't hurt me. That is unfortunate, but again, that displacement is an issue when Sigma's concerned. Great job for FMCL.
I mean, that is, you know, obviously a very good hold for who is Goldfish, right? Even if it ends kind of like that. It's a big play from Lep to just knock Dust off the side where, no, he doesn't that. You know, it's another fight that looks like with the way that Who's Goldfish is playing that they would win. So FMCL has to be perfect from here on out to close out the map here.
Matt, I would have preferred to see this Orisa comp take space away from the Sigma, like push up to their side of the map. Because Sigma can't really operate if he's forced back into his own spawn. Gravitic Flux is available for Dust here, but oh, okay, well that would have been Azruf going over the edge anyway. The coach gun is pretty sweet in a pinch for that kind of displacement. So Who's Goldfish need to make a change, and yeah, with this advantage, you can absolutely push up. Yeah, play this side of the stairs. But FMCL can cross that gap quickly enough anyway with the Lucio speed, so they will be able to threaten. And this Sigma comp struggles to find a good staging ground here when they're forced off the map multiple times.
Good to see you.
Yeah, Biz was so far deep that no, that was like he got like the immortality field out and whatnot, but it just kind of ended up in no man's land without a blink or a recall, and then got in a little bit of trouble.
Can they just contest with this?
Great to put pressure on the back line, but it's gonna be tough. I mean, this is gonna be immortality field keeping everybody alive. That'll be the Tracer falling yet again.
I don't like it. I do not like it. You've got to step onto the point as a Sigma here, which seems so vulnerable a position to be in. And the Gravitic Flux is all well and good, but there's nothing to combo it with, and you know Renko's going to have an immortality field. FMCL come up with the answer. They find the solution, and they take away Nepal.
You know what? I think though, even if FMCL, they do win that one. I think you're pretty happy, if you're Who's Goldfish about how you played, right? Point one, you got the point. You want a fight or two, right? It looked pretty decent, but that second one, right? You were in control a lot of it. So I think obviously it ends up in a loss. I think it's like everything you do is going to be punished. Against FMCL, probably have to tighten things up a little bit, but not a terrible performance from
I think they just don't want to play in Orisa Mirror there on Sanctum at all, right? And again, this is kind of what we see, like when the Sigma comp has control and they can set up on that neutral ground, that platform, the stairwell, it's pretty oppressive. They can sort of keep the Orisa back just by sheer weight of poke damage, but when you have to filter in off of spawn, it could be kind of hard to get set up. And then who contests? Like, who goes to the point and gets it going? Like, you don't have, like, the rush potential. You can't just force a fight when you want it. You have to, like, get a pick or get someone low enough to make it unhealable or unsuzuable or whatever. Immortality Field was there for Renko as well. So it's a big ask. They were switching so much early in the round, I would have liked to see another switch to something that actually, could answer the Orisa.
Well, it's like typically with tanks, right? Like you're almost choosing a little bit of a play style, right? In determining on like, you know, how a tank plays, right? But the thing is like Orisa feels like she can play every style at the moment, right? You want to play like in the opposing team's face, you want to play brawly, great. If you want to play a little bit, you know, further away and defensive, you can do that as well. Like maybe just not the constant poking at range, right? That's probably where the Orisa falls, but there's not many comps that want to play that way, at least in Overwatch 2.
Well, that's what FMCL wanted. They wanted a Sigma into a Orisa matchup, right? That's why they picked that Sigma out of the gates, and then there was a Remacha switch. We went back and forth a little bit, but then FMCL just said, you know what, let's just play Orisa. Let's just gap them with this comp. And they managed to do that in pretty stunning fashion there. So not getting poked down, not being threatened, having a great showing, and being able to play, like, I think the general consensus is that, like, the Orisa is a bit susceptible to the Sigma comp. Being able to play that and still find success and kind of do it, you know, pretty impressively once they had control of the point, to me is pretty telling. Iconvolta coming up next here. The kind of map, of course, where if you want to play the Orisa comp, fine. You've got to walk up the castle on that attacking side, which is pretty treacherous, and it's easy to get caught out here. Seen plenty of teams mix the Winston play in at times here. Can be risky, but if you're good enough, you can absolutely make it work.
Yeah, I mean, especially towards the second phase of the map, right, where there's so much high ground to have to deal with, right? But I think Orisa's just so strong, man. Like, you see just kind of galloping out the gates here. At least it'll be FMCL on defense first, so they will be playing the Orisa on D, where Who is Goldfish still some time. I'd love to see like what their version of like a dive looks like, trying to like put pressure onto that back line. It could be pretty difficult to do against the Orisa Cassidy Baptiste combo.
We've already seen this, right? We saw this in the earlier series on Paraíso where the Winston comp suffered. Let's though hear what Who is Goldfish are planning. How are they going to overcome with this Winston comp on Iconvolta?
It might be Echo Tracer. I am highly doubt it though. All right, we win. Once we get this space, we just listen to Azure angles and then we play off that.
On Orisa.
We see high ground. Or did cast or did they're cast map then?
I'm taking the second corner here.
No one in the left room.
I'm swinging right. 3, 2, 1, swinging right.
Yeah,
they're walking all left. They're walking all left.
Okay. I'm looking for jump, okay?
Yeah, just
3, 2,
I'm scared. I have to
one.
I got you.
Going back one.
Have to fight Trey.
They're pretty low already.
They're all low. I'm trying to live.
I'm living right now. Try on me, man. Try one. I need care.
I'll keep you up.
Oh, I'm done.
I'm just gonna play hooks.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Winston dive here doesn't go well. I'm just going to play Orisa.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it, right? I mean, you see him jump in. There's 3 players like all shooting at him, focusing him down. Then he has to just kind of live and dance through his bubble there, which Dust did a pretty good job of. But then has to jump out and then just gets hit with a spear, and it's like, well, all right, I'm just gonna. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, it's hard. He almost got out. But it is very, very difficult. I thought that the ins and outs of the Winston play were fine. There's just so much that can punish you for diving in at all. Now you're going to play the Orisa mirror against FMCL with the Cassidy of Seeker, who doesn't miss very often. So you are now playing at a distinct disadvantage.
Yeah, and I mean, you really see the power of the Cassidy, right? Versus the Sojourn, where the Sojourn's kind of like, you know, peppering players down, then big bursts of damage. The Cassidy, it feels like every shot is so impactful, right? I know. Just, you know, pop from Seeker takes out a few players. So FMCL starting to put together a pretty good defense. See Who's Goldfish on the attack yet again. Still trying to put some pressure on this side of the map.
Who's Goldfish are grouped up here. And once they get past this mound, they will be pretty susceptible to that mid-range damage. Especially the Cassidy can provide you. Azraf here close to Deadeye, going to be playing through the Amp Matrix. Both teams, in fact, making use of those Baptiste ultimates, and Azraf and Biz go to work. Goldfish going down here, maybe a cause for concern. Reverses had to use that sound barrier, and I think that'll protect Who is Goldfish for long enough for them to clean up any stragglers. Play the mirror. The Orisa comp is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most kind of consistent outcome, right? You know, in terms of like playing the mirror and trying to like force these types of comps. So Who is Goldfish on their second, third attempt trying with the mirror is able to break the setup there from FMCL. And now it's like, where does FMCL decide to set up on defense? They want to set up on top of the castle? Do they want to play close? At least at the start here, looks like we're going to be playing from that high ground. Have that Deadeye. You can like speed boost Deadeye, clear out the door, then play a little bit close. But looks like going to play from that natural high ground.
So we know the Orisa comp on the attacking side has to cross here and walk up the castle. With like, you know, speed boost and like a pulse bomb. There's a lot of good stuff to work with here. Both teams on the Baptiste though, so operating around those immortality fields is going to be really critical. And as for here, I think who's Goldfish trying to get as much push as they can until, yeah, they hit that open corner from the low ground, and now they're heading upstairs. Great stick, immortality field, it's going to have to be used there. Renko able to keep himself alive, but there's more where that came from. Deadeye from Seeker, open some space, get rid of Goldfish's immortality field, but look how low Aerial is. Beautiful, great Terror Surge, devastating. Dust eventually gets taken down just after that ultimate goes off, and Seeker is under a lot of pressure here. The Tracer is hunting. He does not have a mag grenade available. Biz cleans up.
No, and that's going to be another fight for who is Goldfish. So they're going to get around towards that bridge area and set themselves up for a potential point B take. So Biz kicks that off in a really nice way. Pulse Bomb, that gets the immortality field out. Seeker uses the Deadeye to try and stop that push that he knows is coming on in, but Dust and Co get in there and cause chaos.
Yeah, drastically more dominant showing from who is Goldfish compared to the first map, right? There's no issue of composition now. They're playing the mirror, and the DPS are firing on all cylinders. My Moon drops that pulse there, but reverses a little too slippery. That Air Matrix here will keep FMCL quiet. They'll play back behind their own, but won't extend onto the bridge. Dust is looking for some Archie. He wants to throw down. Sound barrier now here for Beer, but Biz not getting it, excuse me. That allows My Moon to win the fight. Left's been removed, close to a beaten. Touches, any touches? No touches, very good. Okay, moving right along then to the last phase of the map.
Well, I mean, look at the three players, Renko, Seeker, and Maymon, really weak, and they had to use that immortality field trying to heal everybody up.
They got zoned by
Didn't
Dust.
have enough there, so yeah, who is Goldfish? Just kind of moving it around.
Okay, moving around. I'm seeing enough movement, Matt. I'm very pleased.
I mean, moving through the map, like this is like kind of crazy in the sense that like the 16 seed, right? We talked about. I think what Johnny said that they're the only 16 seed to win a map, right?
Yes, that's right. You know, in the group stages, that is. Yeah. Here's your Deadeye. Great spear to interrupt there.
Oh,
Dust,
nice spear.
Yeah, sees the timing beautifully. Denying Seeker the ability to pick off Bitterisa. That's a little bit low. Immortality field. Oh, Dust stays alive.
Immortality field.
Okay. Yeah, no one brings that down, but FMCL have pretty well sorted out the sound barrier of Lab.
Hey, I mean, that was a sick immortality field. Props to Dust with like 0 HP, trusting the fortify immortality field kind of combination. Yeah, but doesn't end up working out. This is typically, I think, like the hardest, part to get through, right? Just trying to be able to kind of like push through here towards the end, getting around this corner. Especially, I feel like with Cassidy in the meta, right? Like this is his perfect effective range. Ant Matrix is on both sides. Probably just both teams. Yeah, immortality fields around the corner, so just gonna everybody stand around.
Okay. Orisa cooldowns get cycled, so they're both without them for now, I think. Just a little bit low. Can hear Azurif and Seeker vying for supremacy here. A mag grenade found reverse. He's completely unperturbed by it though. There's no follow-up. Very low is Dust. Very low. Sound barrier. Great timing. Seeker might have overextended for this, and he has. Azura punishes him from that little high ground platform. And here comes the follow-up hit. Big damage off the Deadeye. Azura clearing that immortality field, and FMCL are running for the hills. Widow? What?
Man, there's one fight away. You're going to end up having like a pulse bomb here plus Terror Surge. So it may not be this fight. It may have a better opportunity the next one, but Azura takes out Seeker. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, they're getting gapped. A minute to work with here. Biz gets left. There's nowhere really to go when you're that far back on the map, and Dust wants to try and finish it with a flourish. A coup de grace, if you will, as the Terror Surge will end the round. Who is Goldfish finished with a minute to go?
Just play the mirror, right? You play that Orisa, they look pretty good there, whether it be Cassidy or Sojourn. That time was the Cassidy throughout the entire time. They did really nice once they switched to that. It took a little bit to get going, right? They had to kind of like build up some ultimates at the start, but then they actually started to make some moves once they got on even footing. So we'll see what they decide to do on defense. I imagine Orisa, Cassidy here, probably the setup.
I fail to see any real reason to mix it up. Maybe like there's a case to be made for Sojourn here, but once those Aristas get within striking distance of one another, Cassidy very effective at just removing that armor in a couple of shots. All of a sudden, you're forced to use those defensive cooldowns, give ground, and then the other Orisa can really take advantage of that by using theirs later and making use of the space opened up by the fallback.
And I think if FMCL was, taking this team a little bit lightly, like they need to kind of put that to bed right now, right? Because a scary scenario, right? They finished with 1 minute and 3 on the clock. It's not like they finished in OT and you were holding them forever, right? I mean, it's pretty decent amount of time here. Now on Icon Vault, so see how things kick off. It'll be a mirror matchup. Actually, no, it'll be the Sojourn
right?
here in Kariko for FMCL. So interesting little wrinkle.
Yeah, maybe the Soj like less effective under the Immortality field just because she like slide away a little bit. Just the mobility here for Renko. But a verticality when we get to the second phase of the map might be critical. Wow, Biz overextends into that. But Zeke got accosted. I like the timing there for Dust to take that fight sort of so close to the bridge. There was nowhere for Seeker to go, but we might have seen an overextension in the aftermath of that little play.
Yes. Now you see Ariel and Co just chasing around players, just trying to find one as things kicked off really fast at the start as they were able to deal with Seeker, but you can't commit that hard on a target, right? I know it's great to get the Sojourn out of the way, but not at the sake of losing everybody else. So that'll be FMCL taking the point.
Like you can, but then everyone has to commit, I think, with Dust there, right? As opposed to them looking a little bit isolated from their support line as that fight kind of broke down. So FMCL, a lot of time to work with here, really in a pretty good position. Who is Goldfish though? Spawned back such that they can, take fight outside the castle to begin with here. At least until the gate comes up.
You got to play close, right?
That is not really where you want to be, though. All right, well, now you need to run.
I mean, I like the idea. You have to play close, right?
Committing after the Cassidy loss, though, I think is potentially a bit questionable. Maybe you feel like you have nowhere to run.
Well, I mean, what are the other options, I guess?
Try and get back into the castle with a speed boost and take the high ground. And give up a little bit of this cart push until it gets to the corner, I think. It's at least an option.
I mean, you're going to get basically this. I think you're going to get basically the same fight.
Right, but you don't feed ult charge, right? Is kind of the issue. I don't know how much you get for yourself there. Who is Goldfish? I think they got a kill, right? But I think it's a pretty marginal point. Just a little bit interesting to see them sort of go that way. Okay, Matrix. Dust, can they make use of this? Goldfish gets taken down by Seeker, though. All right, later Terror Surge here. I think Ariel's starting to get pretty comfortable here with this mirror. Cart, though, does get to this under-bridge zone. But who is Goldfish will be cut down again, and then FMCL could sort of decide where they take the next fight. High ground will be re-established here.
Yes, now it's starting to get a little bit dicey here for who is Goldfish, as FMCL just kind of speed running through the map here. Is you'll have sound barrier, but it's going to be the overclock from Seeker, potentially up on that high ground. So are they gonna try and wrap with a few players? Is that the kind of plan here?
This ends.
Maybe just like have good poke positioning, but you can hide behind the cart. Yeah, they do wrap. Can't tell if they were forced to by Mimone or not. Good Susan one Seeker. Well, this is where he thrives. It's a veritable shooting range. Yep. This one is getting a little bit out of hand now. With, again, 3.5 minutes still to play. Who is Goldfish just had to finish the fight, and the Kutsuna Rush basically guarantees the cap here. Oh,
yeah, Seeker hits a shot there on the Lucio. Oh, finishes it all off with the primary fire. Nice play there.
Orisa needs to die.
You still have this Orisa in the mix, though. Yeah, it's tough getting Dust out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, they came off the spawn, I guess, just in time, but their health pool still disappeared awfully quickly. So 4.5 minutes now. Again, this part of the map, doesn't matter who you are, how good you are, it's still hard to play into. So bear that in mind.
Do you think they're just committing a little bit hard on the Secret, like to rotate all the way around there and just try and make a play for him? Like it just kind of like leaves advantages on the other side of the map. And I think the players in FMCL, they're so experienced, they're going to see that, I feel like, for a mile away.
Yeah, they don't. It's also possible that Who's Goldfish aren't giving themselves good fallback options and like the capacity to disengage if maybe things don't quite go right. This is kind of mad. It's very punishing, right? Especially against this comp, they can chase you down if you get overextended and maybe you don't start the fight exactly the right way. Little mistakes can be punished and you can be blown out for it.
They got to keep Dust up.
Oh, that almost got reversed. I think it in fact did. Unclear. They were very, very low, but able to get away. Sound barrier though here. And this is a snowball. It's a classic snowball here for FMCL. Zika able to avoid the pulse. Again, this happy to play in these close corridors. Isn't really stressed by this kind of pressure. Eventually goes down, but Maimon they can step up in his stead. And this should be a finish with, yeah, a lot of time left to play. Kitsune Rush again built by Renko. That's 2 in 2 fights just quietly. Little gross, but that's fine. Now Ariel can push up into spawn. Make sure the Tracer can't be stepping out here and contesting. 320. Pulse there from Maimon is good. Goldfish is down. Juggling Azruf here. 3:16 to play.
Man.
Quite a gap.
I was like, oh, yeah, the 1 minute's a pretty good time, and then all of a sudden, 3 minutes, just dropped on your forehead. That is tough.
Yeah.
It felt like they were like so all in on trying to make a play for Seeker, and and even when they got him down, right, he was able to take up a player or two each time. It was just a pretty rough thing to do.
I think maybe like that idea against the Sojourn with a Baptiste in play is actually fair, because if you can force the Sojourn out of the Immortality field, then like you can do a lot. But when you have the Kiriko, like even if you like force the Sojourn away, like section her off the rest of the team, Kiriko swifts, like, you know, dashes into her and then can throw a Suzu wherever and give you that kind of window to play off of. Plus provide you the direct healing. Whereas for Bap, it's like a little bit uncomfortable to try and heal a player that gets displaced or like has to dash away from you. Especially like the Immortality field becomes tricky. You've got to like predict where they're going to want to play. So maybe like an adjustment there, like with the aggression of who is Goldfish, like the full commit onto a player against Kiriko with all her cooldowns up is really risky. That's the whole point you play her, to give you that sort of insurance policy, the contingency if your Sojourn does get isolated and dove on.
So for who is Goldfish, I think, for who is Goldfish, I think the goal here is like, look, they have 3:16 on the other side. You at minimum have to take this first checkpoint, and then I think make it to that first corner. I think if you make it that first corner, like
it's on the table, sure,
you can realistically go into the second half and be like, we have a chance, right? That's I think like the fair minimum where it has to go. 'Cause it feels like FMCL was just speed running throughout their offense, and that's not the right way to start it, as Biz takes a shot from Seek.
Yeah, it's safer to play the Sojourn, right? You don't have to get into that mid-range. Also, like playing through the choke means you're subject to this kind of stuff. The disruptor shot being thrown there to slow you down. Time is of the essence here for the attackers, so that's just going to be annoying to deal with in general. You have much more escape than the Cassidy. Yeah, you're less lethal at mid-range, but you don't need that. You need to buy time here.
Yes, who's Goldfish working around the outside here? It's going to be difficult though, as Seeker's... Yeah, no. Seeker's building up a railgun there, just sitting up on the high ground. Is they going to drop an Ant Matrix here? But you can just kind of like circumvent this, right? They don't even have to like really kind of fight in open space to play on the point. That's a huge kill though. Yeah,
Ariel gets forced out into that. It's a great Air Matrix, really. No way around it. Finding Renko off of it is pretty gargantuan. Seeker, though, trying to save things here. I respect it. But again, who is Goldfish are going to get themselves a checkpoint? And like Matt said, they need that first corner. But with how good FMCL have been on their attack, I want a little bit more than that.
I mean, you would, right? I think I was being more of like a realist here, where FMCL, you're going to come back with, you know, at least sound barrier here, overclock. You think that's enough to do it? I'm curious whether they kind of like play really aggressive, or they kind of like allow them to come around this first corner a little bit.
You got your answer. The Orisa's dropped down already, so they will take a fight sort of close to this choke.
They let Biz go by and they just ping the Tracer.
Okay, well that's an Immortality field drawn out already. Now you probably play much more aggressively. Got to be a sound barrier here. Lep's going to hold on to... Oh, okay, well, yep, going to be forced to hold on to it. Apparently, Azruf. That's massive. All of a sudden, FMCL have to back up. There's something here. I can smell it. Deadeye for Azruf. Just going to be cycling that ammo. Ariel doesn't get out of here alive. There's just no way they're able to. No Lucio. God, that is brutal stuff. And here we go. Who is Goldfish getting much more than we bargained for?
No, this is massive, right? I mean, you don't have like the Deadeye or anything, right? But you're going to have this Ant Matrix sound barrier available for FMCL to just get in position. But yeah, this is like kind of better than what I expected, slash kind of I think you would want to see for who is Goldfish. Is now they put themselves in a very good spot to potentially get a hold.
All right, Leb. Try not to die here. Air Matrix from the high ground, that's powerful, especially for the long-range healing of dust. Sound barrier used preemptively now, that makes perfect sense. And they pushed ahead of that Air Matrix. Good call. We saw a Seeker went there with Leb to make sure. Now you get a decent vantage point to work with. This is Sojourn. And this should be it. Who is Goldfish? Unlikely to advance any further, but still, that's pretty good. 3 minutes 16.
I mean, what? They had a minute
like
and 3 seconds, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's basically a minute. So that's a really strong push there from Who is Goldfish. So I think for them, you come out again, right? Orisa composition, probably with the. Do you play Cassidy on? They played Cassidy on offense here. Do you play it on the defense? Feels like maybe the Sojourn is just like a pick from Seeker. I mean, he's been going back and forth, right? So maybe it's just Azareth is a little bit more confident on the Cassidy. Maybe we see him just stick with that on D.
I mean, a huge part of it is based off field, but Sojourn is safer.
Yeah.
And like again, if you're like more invested in buying time and not staggering, then you might consider the Sojourn, especially if you can like, you know, play from the upper level of that hunting lodge. And also, like, you could probably do more with an Air Matrix there as well. Disruptor shot is also relevant, I think.
I think it's the sight line as well for like the second part of the map, right? There's no real reason to swap, right? You can still just play that Sojourn up on the high ground.
Yeah, something worth bearing in mind here. I think both teams have just decided to become less interested in taking risks here. So we're seeing the safer hit scan pick from both of them. Who is Goldfish now? Need to hold FMCL off for 3 and 14. Very doable, but it's going to require some pretty monumental fight wins along the way, and probably a win or two in unfavored conditions.
I mean, what? You burn a minute off the clock here, right? Get it to 2. You win 1 fight. That's not a good way.
You're not burning a minute here.
You win one. You win 1 fight. No, not now. But you win 1 fight. You know, right here at the castle, right? And then you're kind of like, you know, nearing OT, like last fight territory. Now, will you burn the minute here? Unlikely. As Seeker just rounds the corner, takes somebody's head off, and then just kind of, all right, well, let's just all get in the point.
You actually did. So, you know, all up, that fight did take about 1 minute from spawn to capture for FMCL. So it's likely that FMCL, unless they win every fight here, they're going to be in overtime for like a lot of this push, especially because the gate has to open. That's pretty tedious to sort of, if you're an attacker waiting for that to happen, it can be a bit frustrating. And again, like, you are playing at a disadvantage positionally as well. So, like, there's a good chance that Who is Goldfish can sort of win a fight here. I mean, they have to. But headshots on a Tracer with a railgun don't come by every day. And when they do, you're basically guaranteed the dub.
That's just Seeker, what? Back-to-back fights, just opening it up with a railgun shot on a damage dealer, right? So now everybody just runs onto the payload, gets a full reset. The bad part for Who is Goldfish is there's been no ultimates had to use for FMCL throughout all of this. They have just kind of run it down.
They can't even cope like with their ultimate cycle, being like, oh, well, we got these coming up soon, guys, so we'll have an advantage at some point.
Yeah. It's not even like we forced out this. No, you're just kind of like getting picked by the Sojourn, really.
Yeah, Biz has to contest this. The fight will happen on the high ground in the meantime. Displacement here is going to be really important. Positional advantage gained from dropping down in the right spots, but Mimone wins the Tracer duel. And I don't think we've seen a kill from Who is Goldfish so far on this defensive side. There's the first one. It's Renko. Decent one if you're going to get it. But you are not going to win this fight either. Ariel finds the dartboard, and dust is down. Lo and behold, we have a minute left. FMCL encroaching on the end of the map with a Kitsune Rush to play with.
Yeah, I mean, Who is Goldfish does have beat, though. The beat plus the Orisa ultimate. It'll be the Kitsune Rush here from Renko. Oh, the stun. It's still going to be able to get out.
Seeker's got a good position. Sound barrier there from reverse. Now is mostly dissipated. Terror Surge didn't find value, and here it is. Kitsune Rush now. This is elementary stuff here from FMCL. Almost a little bit too easy. It's almost as if they didn't have to drag us through 25 minutes of Ikevolt to get this result, but here we are. FMCL close out the map with a blistering assault on the attacking side, far outstripping the progress, rather, that their opponents were able to make.
Yeah, it's quite odd how FMCL feels like it just like turn it on at a moment's notice, right? And like, here we go. All right, we're just gonna kind of run it down the map. But man, Seeker able to find picks time and time again in OT, right? On the Sojourn, able to find those railgun shots on the damage dealers on who is Goldfish. And look, I mean, they got it like what, all the way basically to the bridge without using a single ultimate. I mean, 3 minutes already was in their time bank, so not much you could do.
Look, just seeing the raw pace and just the brutality of FMCL on that last attack, this map could have been an email. Literally. Could have been an email, boys. Finally coming alive there at the end, and who is Goldfish really unable to slow them down whatsoever. Some good moments, like from who is Goldfish, right? Here and there. Like they have to fight for control, but generally it feels like, again, they're not really being respected. Then when they get to this last phase of the map here, like Asruf is deadly accurate. Some fantastic play. Some fantastic play from Dust as well.
Hey.
What does Hugo think? Let's get him in here. I want to hear his take on how does this affect Biz's legacy?
I didn't even know he was awake, and he just turned and erupted. What is going on?
Swiped out 6 years, folks. Is this the 7th? I've lost count anymore. Yeah, I've lost count. It doesn't matter. At least he doesn't bark every time I walk past, your door and go to the elevator. That used to be a whole experience.
Oh man, yeah, I know.
Like,
he's chilled out from those days.
I mean, like, I could troll Matt so hard by just going to the elevator right now. Here it is, though. The KD, I think, at the end.
He can smell just like really just mean people from miles away, and so for I'd be like, oh, Mitch's going to the gym. Mitch's going for groceries.
Yeah, how I miss those days. 188 eliminations to 100. I would suggest a huge part of that deficit.
That's crazy.
Probably emerged in that last round where we did not see who is Goldfish get a kill until like the card is under the bridge in that second phase, right? And I think it was like an inconsequential one that Dust is able to get in like a very one-sided fight here. So who is Goldfish? They paved the way here for like a really strong map showing, and then they just lose their grip on things. And FMCL reminding us of just how experienced this team is, especially under pressure. They've been there before. A lot of their players have been on teams that, I'll just be honest with you, have been on the rougher end of matchups in the Overwatch League in the past. So they've definitely had their fair share of lickings there. To come out here, show us exactly what kind of grit they've got, we're reminded of that experience.
I mean, yeah, it's great they can bounce back with like the experience, right, and take it to them. But like you'd expect them to, okay, like maybe we're not in the top 4 at the moment, but we feel like we're like the first team on the outside looking in, or however you want to rank them.
They should be knocking on that door. Like they should be. Like
you should blow the doors off of like the teams outside of that, right? That's kind of like what I would expect. In that scenario where, against a team like who is Goldfish, obviously, putting together a pretty good performance today, but still, you have players that were in the league in the past. You'd expect them to kind of come in here, take care of business quick.
That's true. And they eventually get it done, but not in the most convincing fashion still. Colosseo was on the docket next. We're going to go to a quick break while these teams collect themselves, and we'll be back here for who is Goldfish. It might be their final outing here in Stage 2. They're going to hope to give us their very best after this.
Side to Petra, me and the Wayfinders just found the coolest artifact I think I've ever... Again? Come on! Whoa. If you want to mess with these artifacts, you gotta go through me. Hey, I'm on to you! I gotta tell you, I wanna scream it out. I'm gonna show you, here's what it's all about. Up top, you big doofus. Rock and roll. Just can't believe
It's time for Who is Goldfish. We know who they are. We know how they are. We don't know how far they can go just yet. It had to be a reverse sweep for them here, but we almost saw one in the previous match. It's all on the table coming into our third map of the series. Colosseo will be the pick here. And we finally saw FMCL come alive in extra innings there on Arkenvolta. They looked absolutely dominant, Matt. Let's see if they can carry it over.
I think this is a bad map for Who is Goldfish coming up. Because Seeker has been so good on the Sojourn at range, where I think Azrif has done a really nice job on the Cassidy at times. But I think Seeker with that Sojourn one-shot combo at range has just been so good, where feels like this is a prime map for him to just kind of like take control.
It is absolutely a Sojourn map by comparison. Cassidy feels very limited, especially with these more expansive sight lines.
Also a Life Weaver map. You
know what?
Who's Goldfish wants to play it.
I would suggest you send it immediately. Send it. I'm willing to see this played out.
Cuss has been trying to sell me on Life Weaver.
Okay, I'm listening. I want to know about it, Scotty.
Sick. You listen more than I did.
Yeah, well, you know, he knows some things. Here we go, though. We're going to have our mirrored compositions. It will be Baptiste for both sides here. We kind of talked about how maybe sometimes it's hard to protect the Sojourn adequately when she's moving so quickly, and Baptiste can't always guarantee the connection of that immortality field. But with so much high ground here, can definitely make use of it. Those amp matrices have been devastating in the hands of both teams, I feel.
This is just going to be kind of poking and poking. Nobody wants to give up, damage to the Sojourn, right? Let a rail shot build up as you see the Tracer Lucio Baptiste for both teams kind of like on the outside trying to work.
They almost got Goldfish there. I mean, it was just a spear, I think, and the rail wasn't fully charged from Seeker, or it was some other damage that didn't quite clean out the bat. But that's kind of the protocol here. Get a good spear that sets up your Sojourn and hope that they have 100 charge at the time. Sometimes, though, you can just rush down if someone gets caught out of position here. These side rooms are always so critical, and Maimon just wins the Tracer battle. Well, that's pretty sweet.
He get like a 3-on-3 on this outside spot by the glass, and then you just get like the Arisas and the Sojourns there, in the alley.
Oh,
it's stunning. Nice stick is.
That is picture perfect
that is
stuff.
Some sick stuff.
And it felt like almost Flowchart.
Chase down the Lucian.
It felt like Flowchart Overwatch too. Maimon's able to win out the Tracer duel, then just gets aggressive on the back line, gets a stick on someone. Oh, this guy.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
The Welsh Dragon takes flight, baby.
Ariel came around the corner as Biz recalled and tried to predict. Oh, nice shot there from Ezra. Tried to predict the Tracer in midair with a spear and missed by like an inch. I mean, that would have been crazy.
That's the level we're playing at here, folks. And a big pick there from Azarov. Renko a little exposed. I think he went upstairs to that high ground position to try and set up. So again, FMCL reminded that Who is Goldfish are to be respected. Now we'll be back to a bit more of a neutral engagement here, but many a flank angle on their opponents. And well, sometimes the Amp Matrix comes up at just the right time. Goldfish never knew what hit him. This is very clean stuff again, like just straight up ace here. Who is Goldfish struggle.
And they win these fights for FMCL with like, limited to no investment, right? Amp Matrix done, fight win, right? Now you come back, like you have this high ground control, right? You deny this position from Who is Goldfish, make them cross this and walk right into this overclock, and that's going to be a sound barrier there to just try and close that gap.
I like the idea for Who is Goldfish, but they walk straight into a trap. Sound barrier for left means that aggressive thrust from Who is Goldfish doesn't actually find them many kills, and then we see a Terror Surge.
You know how hard that is? Like, I mean, we just watch it from Seeker's POV and it looks so easy, but the amount of things he should be getting hit by and his teammates are keeping him up and just kind of rounding players together and then also like nailing those shots. I mean, that is just crazy. The fact that they just make that look so easy.
The fact that they hold their ground, I mean, that's a lot of pressure you're feeling. It's like a full dive from that Orisa team with a speed boost behind him. Again, Renko caught, but it was a trade in the end. No Tracer available. Azarov a little isolated, but area was too low. No Renko to keep him topped up. Still a checkpoint gained amidst that cacophony of fight. So I think FMCL are more than happy to back away and just reset it. They are very far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's no pressure for FMCL, right? Now they see that the Sigma's out. They're going to switch to the Ramatra, right? Gain the advantage in terms of the tank play. And now you probably see them just kind of like wait for this Sigma shield, wait for them to just kind of be a little bit more static, and then just kind of push past it with that Ramatra and the speed boost.
Like a little bit of a switch up here at tank. Again, who is Goldfish? Trying to get like a strong tank pick, but there's just so many opportunities for FMCL to switch this. And this obviously requires you to go back to a reset, which just resets our little cycle of teams jockeying for an advantage in the front line. I like the idea, but there's a shield there still to chew through, and an Air Matrix in play that Azra absolutely capitalizes on.
So now what I think that Who is Goldfish needs to do, right, is like have like a player or two maybe push this bot and just get this high ground set up, just like how FMCL did the last time, right? Azra getting close to the overclock, very similar to this position that we saw Seeker in do some serious work.
Yeah, the comp is just highly susceptible to getting rushed on. So, like, they have to be pretty ready to give up this ground. Unlike FMCL, who, if you remember, they stood their ground and they used the Terror Surge to sort of trap everyone in. Dust is close to a Gravitic Flux, though. He's trying to build it probably right about now. And has that available here. FMCL giving a lot of room here, but no checkpoint. The card's been contested right now, despite there being a fight happening on this high ground. So you've got to give credit to Mimone here for making it hard to advance. Here's the Flux. Just a Ramatra. Dust very low. Goes into the Immortality field. Goes back to safety. Yeah, very unconvincing Sigma ultimate there. But FMCL are playing so dispersed anyway. It's very hard to get value. Overclock here for Seeker.
And they still have such a lead, right? I mean, you know, 20 meters is a decent amount of time. Now you've lost Biz, right? So now you're starting from square one, right? If you're Who is Goldfish, that bot is going to go back the other way. It would have been nice for Who is Goldfish if you at least got like checkpoint there, right? Getting the checkpoint would have been nice. Now they will match the Ramatra. So a rarity here today. We'll get a Ramatra mirror matchup.
That Sigma comp a little cheeks though when you see Ariel able to close the gap like that. I don't really want to lean on that. You don't want to get caught in those. Oh, hello! Nicely done by reverse. Good little burst damage though. That definitely came from a railgun from Azruf. Now where do you go? Seeker's charged up here. Big hit on Biz. Often those have been capitalized on by Lemp as well. Someone else just like doubling down onto the Tracer, helping Seeker complete those kills. So we're back to neutrality here. Speaking of which, net neutrality just won today. Big fan of that call. 20-meter lead here for FMCL. Goldfish in a position here to throw this Air Matrix. Mimone's a problem though! The Immortality field was there, but he gets taken down. Mimone's able to finish the kill after the damage from the Pulse Bomb. Remember, you emerge pretty low health from that field. And now Azruf has nowhere to go. Slides back to territory that Mimone already occupied. And the Tracer doesn't even need to push it. Yeah. It just stagger that kill.
And it always feels like Who is Goldfish, right? Azruf will get a pick, right? It feels like, okay, this is the opportunity for them to kind of like push it open, break it open, maybe like get close to tying it up. And then FMCL just responds in a huge way. And then now, look at this. They're going to extend their lead even more, just slightly, at least for the moment. And now we'll see a May in the mix. So Air Matrix here for Goldfish. It's going to just push them around the corner. Dust and Biz are probably dead.
Now Business gets hit with a left hook there as I think they try and get ahead of Dust here. Make it hard to capitalize to follow up. Ariel has the Annihilation though. This is about to get ugly, ugly. Big damage from Azruf though, forces Ariel to put his dukes up defensively. Dust is able to get in and remove the Ramatra. They are awful low, but Azruf makes it hard to follow up and run over them. Nice little cleanup there for Who is Goldfish. Spend a bit for it. Mimone though, always good for one at least.
My Mimone, it feels like he's playing his own game. It feels like every time we are on with him, he's just you know, in the back line, just assassinating a player for Who is Goldfish. Whenever he feels like it. But Annihilation on both sides. Here in the middle of the map though, man, this one could last a bit, right? And I think the longer this goes, like FMCL does not have to push here. Like they can just sit. Like they have so much time to work with.
Yeah, I mean, in this like neutral fight, sometimes the Sojin just pops ult and just tries to like find a kill or at least like take the space off of it for their Ramatra to chase someone into like a small room, punish them here. But there's no spear to like set up those free kills without ultimates. Great wall. A lot of pressure on Ariel here. Annihilation's up on both Ramatras. Might not be time for that yet. Well, I tell a lie. Dust's going to go for it here, and we just have a disengage by FMCL. They don't want to fight this. And the ult gets turned off instantly because Dust has no one to slurp. Here's the Vortex. Over the top comes Seeker now that overclock is in play. In reverse, just floating in the air was an easy target. Nicely done by Azref, at least able to answer Seeker, but the damage had already been done, Matt.
Yeah, and it's a fight kind of a loss here for who is Goldfish, and it was about 30 seconds or so burnt off the clock from FMCL. So, two good things for FMCL. They also don't even have to push the bot like much further, right? Like they can either step away and fight from an advantageous position. They can kind of like go for a map completion. It's really kind of like up to them. It looks like they have aerial down there, and then they're just going to try and escape here through the mid-map, and they're not going to be able to do so. That's amazing.
Play is actually goated here. Like, it's so good for catching the enemy Ramatra out. That's like the biggest advantage that Who is Goldfish could actually lean on now in these like non-symmetrical compositions. But there's an annihilation here for Aerial and a sound barrier.
Sound barrier annihilation, yeah.
Look, definitely not out of the question here for Who is Goldfish. It's not too big a deficit. The problem is they don't have that first checkpoint yet, so they're going to have to win a couple of consecutive fights with plenty of push in between them. Mamon's always contesting. There's the Blizzard. I think Aerial is able to jump out of that for the most part. Yes, okay, they get away. Breaking line of sight there with the Gelato Verd, and everybody has their life essence drained. Who is Goldfish are going to fall. And FMCL finally reminding us exactly why they are favored to go pretty far through this lower bracket. Dispatching a very fun team in FMCL, fun as they are. Fortunately, the fun ends here for Who is Goldfish.
Yeah, and look, FMCL, they take care of business. I don't think there's anything, earth-shattering to talk about with like their performance today. I thought everybody played, quite up to par as you would expect with this team. And I think for Who is Goldfish, like, look, they talked, Goldfish talked about it. Came together late, right? Put together at the end. Only 5 players on this roster. They come in, as a 16 seed, and they play quite well. I think there's nothing to be ashamed about. If you're Who is Goldfish, you made it to the main event. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment.
And for FMCL, they are now knocking on the door again of the top echelons here, advancing further in this lower bracket. Yeah. The games don't get any easier from here on out for them. But we have a chance to look back over the way this series has gone and maybe give some props where they're due, not only to FMCL, but their opponents, Who is Goldfish. And for all that, we're going to head over to the desk.
Thank you so much, Matt and Mitch. Yeah, I think there's a lot of credits which are due to Who is Goldfish, even in this series. Like, don't let the score fool you. It was a 3-0, but there were plenty of moments, especially early on in this series, where I really feel like Who is Goldfish showed up. There were quite a few fights they shouldn't have won, or on paper, but they did. It was well played. They exceeded their own expectations, and I think everyone watching as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think Azref as well as a player I really liked watching on the hit scan for Who is Goldfish, delivering consistent picks and going up against somebody like Seeker. I think it'd be very easy to just get gapped and to feel like, okay, this hit scan is just like constantly going the other way. That was a bright spot for Who is Goldfish, though. They were keeping it interesting. I do think, though, in terms of FMCL players, Maimon looked great on this Tracer. They pulled out the Genji here and there, also was super solid, but really the Tracer throughout the series, just very, very consistent performances, tons of cleanups, tons of critical picks. For me, he really showed up here in this series in a way I don't think we've seen him on that level yet before. So I want to see more from Maimon continuing on in this tournament. I think he's going to be a crucial player. Yes, we know that Hitscan can deliver, but it really has to be the rest of the players on FMCL who are continuing to step it up in order to make it further in the tournament.
Yeah, and look, like Mitch said, it's not going to get any easier. You can't have Icon Valdez like this when you're going to play against your opponents that come up next to the main event, because you're going to play, I believe you're going to play the loser of M80 and Luminosity next, in the next round.
Yep.
So
that's scary.
You can't commit mistakes like this. You can't be unsynchronized like you were on Icon Valdez right here. You have to play your A game at all times. And when they play their A game, I mean, you got 2 sick damage players on your team. You got a tank player in Ariel who's really flexible, right? And 2 really good support players. So this is a team that should be able to at least clean up their game a little bit going into the next 2 matches. And I think when we look at this roster, even though they've kind of a bit of a mixed roster put together before stage 2, I think we have pretty high expectations of these players because of what we know them to be, right? Seeker, we talk about Seeker always as the big talented hit scan player from NA, but never quite able to put it together with his teams, right? So you'd hope that this finally be it, but we're yet to see how they perform against some of the better teams.
Well, today was definitely it for Seeker, who's been putting up quite a show on Sojourn. I mean, Seeker is just such a talented player. You want to see someone like that succeed.
Fulfill the potential. Pop off. Become a star player for a team.
I think that's true for a lot of the players on FMCL.
Also,
we got him a bonus one. We got him a bonus one.
Oh my God.
He asked for it in the interview, so we thought, give him a little love. But I do feel it's kind of the story of all of FMCL that, even for Lep and Renko, strong players had good performances, but never really making it to the top level, right? Never really being at the top of the game. And so I think for this squad, there's the hope, there's the potential for more. But in the end, I think they have very scary opponents coming up, very consistent teams that, like Luminosity and M80, right? Whoever loses that match is not going to be a pushover opponent. And I think FMCL, we're going to need to do better than they've done today in order to take a win off a stronger team like that.